I wanted to begin by thanking everyone for a big week for us for Compassionate Action. We delivered a truckload of food to St. Andrews on Wednesday morning. And whatever we delivered this time, we got 4 messages from the St. Andrews Food Pantry family there. From Allison, from Chase, from someone named Simeon who helped my husband unload, and another lovely young man. And the essence of the message is we could not do this without you. That was the essence of that message. They have been running somewhat short on food. They have more people being served. And so I want to thank you all for that, because whether you bring the macaroni or the lentils or you don't, what you can and did do was contribute. And you do that both throughout the year in all kinds of amazing ways. And I made an extra little call for that. And they were moved. So that was number one. So I want everybody to feel really good about that. Unfortunately, I get the messages. I don't know how they got my number. And we had a few exceptional donors, and I want to thank them. I'll let them remain anonymous unless they let me know otherwise. But there were some people who contributed some significant dollars, so we got significantly more. And I think St. Andrews got a little overwhelmed by that. They said, oh, good, we need it. Thursday is their distribution day, by the way. And I have a funny feeling anytime we want to do that. Our goal for that is every other month right now, every other month. That feels reasonable. It feels like right action. It feels like it's doable. And we will keep gathering energy for that and make that offering. We had a lot of tuna, a lot of chicken, a lot of protein items, and they don't get those typically because they're a little more expensive. So people don't buy that. They tend to buy pastas and rice and beans. I was a little late. Thank you. Thank you. That will go right to Carrie for next time. So just know we're trying to supplement, because we know that's not what people more often do. So just know it matters. There's somebody today eating breakfast who may not. May 14th is our next one. May 14th. Then we had so many clothes. Thank you all for dumping your drawers. That was incredible. I literally had boxes. We had boxes. My husband said, I better make 2 runs because we had, we're going again next week. My husband was the deliverer because he's working on a project down in Carmel Valley with a friend, redoing a master bath. And Lisa St. John. So what happens, just so we all know how this works, Lisa St. John is the manager of the clothing closet. Lisa reviews everything, every single item. She tags it. She makes sure it's clean. She makes sure it's wearable. And then she brings it back over. So we were not supposed to just bring it over to Showers of Blessings. We got that straight, which I'm so grateful for, because I know it would have overwhelmed everyone had we brought a truckload of clothing that Lisa then had to get home. We had so many clothes and so many boxes. We're going to go again because we still have some stuff. So you still have time. So tell Dee, Pete, she got 2 bags. Okay, we still have time for this. I'm still sorting through some stuff. I just Lisa. I got showered. Lisa got showered with one of my items that I just couldn't give away. I like, no, I can't give this up yet. I have to give it to her. Just know that you still have time, and we will be going on Tuesday of next week. So if you still have bags of stuff, and really sort through this stuff, most of it, as everybody is telling me, thank you. I was never really gonna wear that. It was just an idea, just like this thing I found. Like, no, I just love the idea of the butterflies on the workout shirt. I was never gonna wear that because it's this big. So I was never gonna wear that. But I love the idea. We're gonna talk today about ideas and how they get us in a lot of trouble. Well, just like most of our trouble, right? So I want to thank you, and thank you again. It does not go unnoticed. I wish you all could participate in a more active way so you could see both the relief and the joy that comes from these drop-offs. So if anybody wants to join us at any time, please know that you can, will, and it's very exciting.
When are you doing the drop off?
Drop-off is this Tuesday, unfortunately, during work hours. But May 14th, we can arrange anything for St. Andrews. So anytime anybody wants to go, they will meet us. They're so happy to get those items. They will meet us. So let's try to do it on a weekend, maybe when more of us can go. That'd be wonderful. Okay, so we're talking about the second arrow. I decided for the next several weeks, just for fun, before my 30-day retreat, that I was going to do the Buddhist numbers. I thought I'd hang out in the numbers. There's the 2 of these, the 5 of these, the 9 of these, the 400 of these, the 218 of those, the 108, the 10,000 of these. And they're kind of fun to me. I never remember them. So it's not a bad thing to go back for me. The second arrow is the easiest because it's only 2, right? And so what are these? What are these? And I thought I would see if I could read a little something. And see if I could find that. And so it's not going to pull up here easily. So the second arrow, does anybody remember this idea of the second arrow? What's your idea of the second arrow before we practice it? What do you know about it? You got my emails, right? Everybody got that email? The second arrow is sometimes understood as mental proliferation. Mental proliferation. Thoughts. Yes, but thoughts about. The first arrow is understood then as what? If second arrow is mental proliferation about the first, right, directly, what is the first arrow? And it says in the teachings, the first arrow cannot be avoided. It is a part of this human life. We cannot escape the truth of this. We just did a practice about this. What's the first arrow?
Inevitable suffering.
Inevitable pain.
Pain.
Right. The inevitable pain. What are those then? What's the pain none of us are going to get out of?
Death.
Death.
Yeah.
That's a small one. We'll add that to the. Yeah, death. We're not getting out of that. What else are we not getting out of?
Age.
Old age. If you're lucky, right? If you're lucky, you cannot get out of aging.
Change.
Okay. You're going to deteriorate no matter how many push-ups, no matter how many, right? Doesn't mean you don't go. Remember, we're not buying into the all or nothing model. Colonoscopies with eye injuries. I don't know how this happens. They really did a good job on Carrie. Yeah. Eye injury from a colonoscopy. Now that's a perfect story, isn't it? Isn't that the perfect?
Hear this story.
Isn't that the perfect arrow? Why is that the perfect arrow?
Why the hell is my eyeball?
Unexpected.
Why is her eyeball injured from a colonoscopy? Now, in the Buddhist parable, and they are in all traditions, by the way, I just happen to know these, but in the Buddhist parable says, the man was struck by an arrow, and he then asked, who struck me? Was it a priest, a monk, an educated man, a rich man, a poor man? Was he short or tall? Was the arrow, right, long or short? Was he in a tree or on the ground? And what was the answer? Anybody know what the Buddha said?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Do not waste your time on these things. Do not waste your time. Why? On these things. So using Carrie's situation, was it the cord coming across her eye? Was it a nurse who didn't like her, who knew her, went, I'm just going to get her while I can? Was it something that no one knows or could see or anticipate at all? Who knows? The Buddha called these metaphysical questions, things without answer that are not worthy of time, are not worthy of attention, are not worthy of recollection because they cannot be answered. Right? You get this idea. And what do we all do, though? We look for what that is. Why? How come? What if not? Maybe if. I think, did it happen before or after? Right? Didn't they say this? Maybe they said that. What are they doing now? Right? Complete waste of time. The Buddha himself called this metaphysical. He said, this is like asking the right metaphysical questions that can never be answered. Do not waste ridiculous time pondering things without answer. He said, this is our favorite thing to do, however, because it distracts us temporarily from the truth. What was the truth again? From the truth. Illness, aging, death, and pain. We cannot avoid this reality. And so rather than attend to, be present with, support oneself in the moment of, we take off into, because we are ultimately seeking pleasure. It says we are seeking, and the idea of finding an answer has pleasure attached to it. Isn't that interesting? Because then what could we do? If I knew how it happened, we could go into blame. We could maybe avoid it. We could problem solve feeling good about ourselves. We could, yeah, Chris has that habit. Just keep doing it, right? New answers, new solutions every time. So the second arrow is actually a very important teaching because it really says, can we simply abide the body as the body without beating our chest, gritting our teeth, squinting our eyes, and resisting the truth of this present moment? Now, those were all the words that were used in the sutta. Beat your chest, squint your eyes, bear down on your teeth, and avoid, as if, right? Now, remember when we were little and got scared by something, we'd go, right? Like to get out of it. And of course, right? Now, it doesn't usually offer us any solutions, right? So we get this idea about the teaching. Then what is the practice? What is the practice then? You can write it or say it for
Stay
those.
present.
Stay with, stay in, bear witness, abide. These are the words. Why? It hurt. It hurt, right? It wasn't pleasant. Why would we stay in the midst of the unpleasant? Why? Because in that,
Through.
what? Felicia, what?
The only way is through.
The only way is through. The attending of that is a number one natural healing. Just being with yourself in the moment of distress prevents the abandonment that we frequently feel. Staying with yourself is one of the greatest radical acts of loving kindness and compassion. Isn't it? The willingness to say, no, I'm going to be here, even when it's unpleasant, even when I can't control it, even when I don't know the answer, even when, right? The radical, then, act of kindness and compassion, number one. And what else is brought besides that available heart?
Is it clarity about what is actually happening in the moment versus the story you're beginning to tell yourself?
There's clarity about what is actually happening, Lisa said, in the present moment, rather than the storyline that is going to obscure, right, cloud, and actually prevent right action because you're in the story about, you're in the wishing, hoping, imagining about, you are not going to be able to act most skillfully. You are not going to be able in that storyline about shouldn't be happening. Why is it happening? Was it long or short? Did it happen at this time or that time? It says that's not useful unless you're clear-minded, having stayed with oneself. By the way, in working with migraine patients, we have a very hard time getting them to stay long enough to see whether they will need medication or not medication, whether they can use some of their other strategies first, or actually should just go ahead and take the medication. And they get all kerflumpled about the whole thing because they're, what if about this? What if not that? Well, I want to do it this way. Well, I don't want to do it that way. What about, right? And so they don't do what is often most indicated, which by the way is, guess what? Take the medication. Actually, the number one problem for migraine patients is waiting too long. Number one, not taking the medication, to not taking the medication, because guess where they are? They're all wrapped up in that second arrow. Is it going to last? Maybe it isn't. Maybe if I had some tea, I can do caffeine sometimes. That's a, yeah, I have people laughing because they know the storylines, right? Maybe that'll work. Maybe if I just lay down, maybe if I put the shades down, right? And it's not that these are essentially wrong strategy. I don't want to claim that, but that distracts from the actual attending, meaning I am here. It is getting a little worse. The pounding is actually moving from one area, now expanding into the other. And right, then you know. And we have to teach people, how do we abide this moment, whether comfortable or uncomfortable, to then act most skillfully, most compassionately then, right? You have to be here, actually. Is there anybody who doesn't get this? Right, don't we all? And so then what's the practice?
Well, Diana,
Yes.
I wanted to also ask and add, I don't know, but the trust issue around it too, because of your own, like, what do I want to say? Learned patterns or upbringing or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that has a stem to it too, right? And I, it's interesting, this week I had some stuff going on with my son, and just giving him these techniques through our practice and another of, you're going into the hamster wheel mind, you're doing these things and creating a bigger issue rather than just being present and then letting whatever's going to happen. You're creating a storyline already in your head.
Yes.
Out of fear.
Yes.
So
the question is, what about those old habit qualities of mine? Recognizing them, just as you were trying to offer Alex, Tanya, weren't you? You were trying to offer Alex clear seeing by going, wait a minute, we might need to recognize this as an old story pattern.
Yes.
Right?
Correct.
You were trying to help him by saying, wait a minute, we've heard this before. Can you recollect that this is part of a pattern, right? It doesn't often work, I will say, informing others about their patterns.
Well,
I've tried this a really long time. I got 50 years on this.
Well, and I used myself.
Yes.
For, I was listening to what he was saying, and I said, okay. And these things and thoughts came to mind. And as always, it always happens to be the practice that we're in that helps me, out, and used myself and my patterns and things that I have done or thought in this, and suggested, like, okay, and his remorse over some things. And I said, well, you know what, that's a normal thing, and you're recognizing it. And rather than running away, sitting there and recognizing that, and maybe some journaling would help today, or maybe this might help today.
Yeah,
know.
I don't know if it hurts to offer. I will
Yeah.
say that moreover, Tanya, my own experience, and I'll let others speak to this, is to embody that
Mm-hmm.
yourself
Mm-hmm.
and in the being present with the
Mhm.
other in their suffering.
Mm-hmm.
I think we are maybe suggesting a certain kind of fearlessness, like let's just be with this.
Mm-hmm.
And I notice for myself, the minute I open my mouth, I'm less there. The very minute I do, rather than just a hand or a presence or nod, right? Like hard, right? This is hard. This is confusing. This is, something that may take time. And that's all of our practice, isn't it? Then how do we abide the suffering of another as well without getting into some action? And sometimes in the very staying, I know this for my own children, the very staying has turned out to be where the magic is every time. Not going, remember I told a story about my son, oldest son, starting to cry, and I went, like, I'm so sick. And he immediately stopped because I can't have you be sadder for me than me. That's not going to work. And it was one small action. One small action, right? And really what he needed was the spaciousness of me holding him without my own pain, without my own fear, without my own sadness in the picture. And this is big work, isn't it? It's big work because we're tempted, aren't we? Let me offer, let me fix it, let me be it. I'm not saying that that's wrong, because if your hair is on fire, please, somebody rush up, right? And do the do. So I'm in no way saying that this is not right action. I'm also saying the first practice, the first arrow is, could I have just known my own pain for my son and held it myself? And held it myself instead of that one, right? This is why we train, says the teachings, which is what we're going to do now. Do we understand what I'm saying? Yeah, we do, don't we? We get it. What is the true warrior? Yep, the one who can abide all circumstance, right? With love, all circumstance. The ones I like and the ones I don't, with an open heart and clear seeing mind. Isn't it? What else would a warrior be? Okay, let's practice together. So take your last sip. I'm going to move this a little because it's bouncing. And so then in our mindfulness practice, the very first thing we begin to establishing this foundation of clear seeing, of abiding, of radical kindness and acceptance is we establish the body first. And so we're just going to begin to gently turn the attention towards the body. And inhabit the body. Just feeling the sense of the body as it is right now with none of the storyline. It's cool or warm, tight or loose. We may notice hard or soft, moist or dry. And in just this flicker of a moment, we stay. Now remember, the appraisal mechanism of the mind immediately, without your intention, will assess pleasant and unpleasant, dangerous and wonderful or bondable. And so we're not going to get out of that first brainstem hit. We're just going to stay still with it. This is the practice. So we're just feeling the body as a whole, sitting here. And then we incline the mind beyond the body to our essential basic goodness. We want to bring a certain lens and a certain attitude of attention to the body. It's not just attention. There's certain qualities to this attention. And it is essentially kind, gentle, loving, patient, compassionate, trusting, open, and wise. Cultivating this quality of mind as it attends to the body. The warmth of the hands, the tingling sensations of aliveness throughout the body, an itch, a twitch, an ache, a pressure point, simply resting in the whole body, letting them come and go. This is the training. You'll notice sounds, thoughts, possible emotions. And rather than be carried away or hijacked by the storyline, including this is good, this is not good, all a part of the story, we simply come back to the body. And can we then let coolness be coolness without running for warmth? Can we abide the itch to see that it is impermanent, conditioned, and comes and goes? In this simple action of attending to the body, we are beginning to cultivate the capacity to abide the present moment. We let the mental proliferation then, the storylines, the preferences, the reactivity and the bias, whatever's happening, we simply let it come and go in the background. with each breath, then cultivating that kindness. That unconditional friendliness. That essential ease. And then very gently, we can narrow the attention beyond the body as a whole to the area of the breathscape and finding an area to gently rest the attention there. And very quickly, we begin to recognize the second arrows, our mental proliferation. And remember, with all the gentleness, with all the kindness, with all the care, we smile. Unhook from that runaway train of thought. And simply come back to that breathscape, to that part of the body. And rest the mind there once again. Can you feel the in-breath as you breathe in? And you feel the out-breath as you breathe out. And you feel both the in-breath and the out-breath. And stay close. again and again. We remain companion to ourselves and this present moment. There is nothing to fix. As we arrive to the present moment, there is nothing to change. There is only presence attending. And then a skillful, loving response. Nothing to hang on to but the thinking mind. Each moment new, fresh, completely different. Can we attend to simply this? And the moment we recognize thinking and that we've been carried off, as we will, we begin to employ the RAIN technique. And that is a methodology to support us so that we don't fall over into proliferation of thoughts or condemnations, judgments, criticisms, blame, all of which we have a tendency to do. That's just more storyline. We simply recognize that the mind has moved. Step one, just recognition brings us back completely to the present moment. We acknowledge, we accept, we allow. Mind moving. We then inquire, what is needed now? And most often it is simply to come back to the present moment, to this one breath. We are then nourished by our own arrival. By our once again being companion to our own life, to this moment, and to ourselves in it, exactly as we are. And see if we can't soften the body just a little bit more. Creating a little more space and room. Being a little bit friendlier, a little kinder. A little more compassionate. And breathing that in. And then we are present. Loving. And wise. Just this breath. And then just this one. And then we notice this unconditional capacity to show up with whatever's here. Moments we like, moments we don't. Things that are pleasant, things that are unpleasant. No storyline required. And we feel for ourselves in this human reality of the first arrow. Birth, aging, illness, death, and loss. Which cannot be avoided. And can we then feel for ourselves and others? And stay. And may this practice be of benefit. So be it. This is Rhea, who is very feral-like. So it's better if you don't move than if you reach down. You'll get a quick sense of that. And so then can we see the habit of mind? Can we see the habit of mind? It's actually required, isn't it? It's not the mistake. It's not an error. It isn't that you got it wrong. It's actually the practice. Can you see the habit? Right? The hanging on to something we like, maybe a feeling of loss for that changing, and then that feeling of aversion, resistance, not wanting, not liking for things that we don't like. And we do it with something really quite as simple as I just noticed a temperature shift. Anybody else catch that? It was just like warm, pleasant, where a little colder, just a little colder. And really probably by 2 degrees or 1 degree. And number one, the mind noticed that. How amazing is that? Because of the still and abiding mind. And then I noticed the reaction to it. I caught it like, yeah, I liked it when it was warmer. Now, is this a problem? No. Is there any problem even with the preference of liking it a little warmer than colder? No. Where's the problem? It doesn't end there. What happens next?
Attachment.
Attachment. I want it warmer. And then a storyline starts. We're having a party today. I hope it's going to be warmer. It better be warmer. I don't want it colder. I wanted to sit on the deck. Right? And now where am I? I don't know where I am. I'm in some other moment that cannot be lived and that cannot be known. Remember, ridiculous, the waste of time. Coming before and after. Ridiculous, the waste of time. Coming before and after what? Before and after what? This very moment where I can attend skillfully, lovingly to whatever is here, right? I can. And right? And really just abiding, which is the other practice we are working on, is to just see if we can't stay to see if it's workable or not workable. And then I went, wait a minute, it's okay. It's a little cooler. It's all right. Right? And I could just abide, come back, be here, where I noticed that the birds were singing just a little bit more. Right? I can do that also. Right? And so where do you see yourself getting caught? Where do you see it? What catches you?
For me, it was repetitive.
Repetitive thoughts, Lisa says. And what's the repetition?
Repetition of this moment, the way this pain right now is not going to change. It's
Yes.
gonna keep on.
Yes.
It's inescapable.
Yes. So
And I want to escape it at the same time.
yes. So Lisa's saying the recognition of a discomfort, a pain, unpleasantness, and a kind of fear propagation. It's going to stay. It's going to always be this way. I'm never going to get rid of it. This is the end of my life. And I'm talking about me, by the way, now, because I was doing this with my knee. Uh-oh, this is never going to get better. This is always going to be this way. It's actually getting worse, not better. By the way, I was not wrong. It was getting worse, not better, right? But the just spinning the thought about it doesn't allow for then response, right? Because all the while in the spin, we aren't taking skillful action. We're just spinning. Then I went, wait a minute. I'm not sure I'm at the right PT. I'm not sure. I wonder if there's other things I could be doing. I wonder if I need to take a couple step back, right? Really look, right? Which was very different than proliferation, which always has, Lisa just said it, a repetitive tone. It's It's like singing two lines over and over, right? My husband has a habit, by the way, he whistles the same four lines. Not four lines, four notes. Do, 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 do. And every once in a while, I go, I can't do that anymore. I can't do that. Those same four notes, right? And he does it when he is particularly focused on something else, right? It's like Groundhog's Day. And that's the quality of our own mind. And Groundhog's Day is a problem. Why? It's a problem. Always a problem. It's not true. That's why it's a problem. Life is never static. It doesn't exist. It is ever changing, always moving, always fresh, always new, always. So when you're going, you're making that up, actually. And that takes a certain kind of energy. You have to bring the same stuck heart, mind, and body to it to get it to freeze like that. It's not the truth of life at all. It doesn't exist. This breath, this moment, this sensation, this breath, this moment, this mind, this sensation, ever changing, ever changing. This is the profound reality of impermanence in front of us. We don't like that either, do we? No, because I'm trying to secure something. Can I get it to stop, stay, be the way I want it to be the way it was before, or be the way I want it to be going forward. And we waste, remember, ridiculous, the waste of time. Also, now not what? Not present to this life in its joys and sorrows. And we want to be present for them both. Actually, why? We want to be present for it, fully present for them both. Why is that? Any ideas out there?
It's what makes us human.
It's what makes us
Just-
human. We're already doing it. Number one, right? It's already here. Why else? It's already here, already happening. You can't do one without the other. Also true. Can't get rid of it anyway. Also true. What else? You can then respond. You can then, by virtue of arriving to the moment of pleasant, and then also to the moment of unpleasant, choose to act how? Skillfully. How else? Compassionately, lovingly, and you yourself become then what? All there is. That's it. The love that is. The love that can be here, pleasant moment. The love that can also be completely here, unpleasant moment. And we can't do that either, can we? We cannot enjoy the truth of love in its pleasantness if we're thinking about the next one. And we also can't be here to compassionately hold ourselves and then others in a difficult moment if we're thinking about how it shouldn't be that way. And we're thinking about why is it that it's that way and thinking about what else we're going to do. We can't do that. We can't actually be here. The only moment, isn't it, to be alive and loving? You've only got one. Really, you've only got one. And every time we dance off, we're not here. Isn't it true? It is true. And who does it cost? Who does it cost? Who's it cost?
Ourselves.
Everybody. Who wins?
Nobody.
Nobody. That's for sure. Ourselves and everybody pay that price, don't they? The minute you're checked out and what about this? What about that? How come this? How come that? Why me? Why not me? Everybody suffers. Everybody's the victim now. Until what? We see where we are and we choose to be back to the present. This is why we practice this. This is why we practice meditation. Meditations are all about exactly the same thing every single time. There's no difference in them. What? Just here with this, and then just here with this. And then what did I say at the beginning? And we cultivate a certain quality that shows up. That's what's right. Can I show up with ease? Can I show up with calm? Can I show up with wisdom, clear seeing mind? Can I show up with the whole body so that I know exactly how it is? Can I show up with the whole heart so that I have a range of loving and compassionate options? And we know leaving it to our own device is not a great plan. Hoping for that is not a good idea. Thinking about it is even worse. It's not going to work. It doesn't work. Right? So all the thinking about the practice, forget about it. Forget about it. Right? What does it require? The actual being present, and then being present. And the training actually takes care of you, by the way. But we got a lot of good thinking going on, don't we? All of us. Yeah, every week, every single week, I've got 4 people at least that go, I think I got it. And I went, yeah, right. Some idea about it, right? Some thinking about it. And then if you got it, what are you really doing? Well, then I'm just being here with it. And then I'm showing up with it. And then I'm actually noticing, and I do this regularly, noticing where some kind of pullback happens, some kind of retraction, some kind of withdrawal, some kind of shutdown. And I really try to stay there. Like, what's going on? That in this moment, there is some essential, fear, confusion, wanting or not wanting in me that pulls me away from myself, this moment, and the others in it.
It's so funny you said that. There was a point in the meditation when you used the word aging, and I flashed on someone who was aging. And I saw
Someone.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it wasn't me.
Let's get rid of them.
I mean, someone who's like, I'm noticing it.
Yes, yes.
Physically,
Yeah.
I'm noticing. And I flashed on her face. And I had this like moment of pain, and I felt my foot actually go backward. And I thought, oh my goodness, I am like wanting to step. Literally, I'm
Yeah,
stepping
stepping
away from
back.
that. It was the weirdest thing. I felt like my foot go all the way back. And like, that is what that is.
Mhm.
It's in the subtlest and in the not so subtle.
Yeah. So useful to capture it. Because then what is the practice? Recognizing, that's the R in RAIN, the allowing, accepting the truth of this fear, this pain, right? It's okay. This is the truth. And then what's needed now? Well, maybe I need to hold myself first. And that's okay too. We know this, right? We are not obligated in this tradition to go, now I have to go change that or fix that, or right. It's really in the inquiry itself. Like, what's most needed now? And often for me, it's to recognize my own fear. For me, I'm just talking about me. Recognize my own contractedness is my own fear about this. And often it's, do I really have what it takes to be with this? Really, to really show up. And for aging, do I really have what it takes to show up to aging? Do I really have what it takes to show up to pain, to illness, and then to dying? Right? And the more I think about it, the worse that gets. Right? I'm asking these questions not for answers. I'm only asking so that I can then do what? Just stay here. This is the training. Can I just be with myself in that fear? Not propagate forward, going, well, now at the time of death, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that or not. That's mental propagation. We're here just with this aging. Can I be with this? And then with that aging, as I leave next week to go attend to my mom who's having a double eye surgery, can I be with this? And just be with this without going, what if this happens and what if that happens and what if that doesn't work? And what if, right? Can I just be with her? Because what did I say to Tanya? Right? There will be no doing that will be better than my full arrival to be with her, will it? Any ideas I have about how to care for her and will come after this, be here with her, because that's the only way that care can really happen. Rhea, don't do that to my couch. Our feral cats have a moment. Thank you. Thank you. Right, do we get this idea? Right. And so what's the work? It's the same practice as we sit here as it is in the meditation. Then I try to just arrive here knowing something about this and then myself in it. And then when I'm capable, I can open to include others. How is this then moment? Me, you, us, right, in its wholeness. We get the idea, right? And so watch this idea about our practice being thinking about it. It won't serve you. It won't serve you. We now know the newest research has just come out that 13 minutes a day of breath awareness, sound awareness, body awareness, sitting in awareness practice is the minimum in order to propagate that availability in the next day. Remember, there was a 60 breath, which ended up being 8 to 10 minutes. Newest New England Journal work is that it's about 13, actually, as it takes. So what do? We set our insight timers for 13 minutes. And then you sit there and attend. Do you want to attend to sensations? Sure. Do you want to attend to just breath awareness? Sure. It's very stabilizing. Do you want to just sit and open to sounds, attending to sounds? Why not? Do you want to propagate loving kindness with the repetition of phrases? Please do. Beautiful. Do you want to offer yourself compassion for the difficulties we have created for ourselves and others in this life, in our moments of forgetting? Absolutely useful. But I'm betting everybody can think of something to do for 13 minutes, right? And if you don't, ask me and I'll help you, right? And yet, what's the truth? What's the truth? And yet, we're all nodding. And yet, what's the truth? We don't do it. 13 minutes. We don't, no, can't pay. Got to get the tea on, and I got to get ready for that presentation about psychedelics with the Rotary. And then I got to, yeah, right. And then I got corned beef and cabbage coming today. I'm going to have to make those green deviled eggs. I got a lot going on. Who's got time for 13 minutes? Who's got time? Each one of us does. We are the privileged. And it's a fact. You are the privileged. You have time. If you're not doing it, how do we ask that the world be better? We can't. How dare us then? Really. If you could only get it, then I could be better. Right? And so we can't. So I'm making the push. The new evidence is to truly establish a mind that can abide. Not only now, but now, not only pleasant, but unpleasant, not only difficult, but joyful. Not only me, but you is 13 minutes a day. And so we set the alarms, the timer, the right, whatever you need. And if you need me to call you, let me know, because I will.
I realize that I fall back into thinking this is some sort of endpoint that I can attain open-heartedness, and then it'll always be that way. And
Yeah.
then I
Yes.
realize that
Oh.
it's going to be a constant
This constant.
and it's life is always
Yep.
and that's the practice.
That's right.
I realized I was waiting for some endpoint for years.
Where you finally get it.
Oh,
Finally get it, right? You finally,
God.
this is there's a lot of Zen stories about students claiming enlightenment, or I don't know what that means even, but right, some I got it nows. And then what? Well, then the next moment, and it all falls apart, as is true in real life. Right? I got this one. And I'm not saying you didn't, but then there's the next one, and the next one, and the next one, right? Until what, right? And this concept of now I've got it. I actually had a mindfulness teacher early on, he was my first teacher, by the way, say to me, I don't practice anymore, I don't need to. And I thought, that's a dangerous idea. I don't need to. Really? And by the way, not such good things happened for this person. By the way, that makes me very, very sad. He's in a facility now, having had a major car accident where his mind is not particularly available for him. And so the truth is he can't practice. He really can't, because there's not enough there to do it. And then I think, what a shame that was, that you weren't there when you could have been, because now really you can't. Now you can't. And it makes me very, very sad, but not just for him at all. Not just for him, for me, that I have bought into that same storyline, that I have gone, nah, it's okay. Right? This one, no, I can, right? That there's no truth in it. And that's the proliferation I think we have to all watch.
Jump on my head.
Rhea is maybe climbing to get a nest with some birds now getting really ready to, okay, this is a very fascinating situation. No,
Animal kingdom.
yes, we are now in the animal kingdom. This is quite interesting. I'm just going to be here with this for a minute because it's actually quite unbelievable.
It's so interesting that I can see it reflected in your
It's
window
really
behind you.
amazing. The cat has climbed up into the upper recess here with the birds now flying towards her. Right?
Is there a nest close by?
Must be.
They have one.
It must be.
So,
Yeah.
can we shoo her down?
I'm gonna let her work this out.
birds are all.
Ray, are you looking for help?
There we go.
Okay, there she goes. She handled it. She jumped down finally. Just a few extra breaths. Helps us figure out what's needed. Okay, so new commitments, right? When we know new things, we open to include them, right? The new things are 60 breaths, certainly valuable. That's about 8 minutes. That extra 5, well, it appears to be the cherry on top, according to the research. Why is it? 8 minutes will certainly calm the mind, but it will not propagate stable mind for the next. The 13 is, it is now not only good this moment, it's going to give you more room, space, and availability in the next. And that's what the research said. You will get certain benefits from the 8 minutes or 60 breaths, not quite the propagation for the next moment, and the next. A lot of people have talked about 15-minute practice kind of throughout all time, really, that has established that as some kind of basic. I would say that was kind of a mother wisdom there. If you know you can only do that, start to set the timer for just a little more time, right? So if you have that 60 breath practice, well, let's try to get to 80 and do that for a couple days. And out of the benefits of that, climb over right into the 13. I'd like to see us make that move because we are in a suffering world. We are in a suffering world. And any one of us who is willing to endeavor this, we need you. We need you. We need you today and tomorrow too. So why don't we try for that together? Remember, we're here 3 times a week, so you've got that. You've got that. If the community, when it can be of benefit to you. Let's sit for just a couple more minutes. There is a belief thought, because I've thought it. Well, if I sat for an hour today, does that cover me for tomorrow? The answer actually is no. It doesn't mean you don't have extra for today, though, because you actually do. But will it lend itself to mindfulness for tomorrow? No. You still have to practice the scales on the piano the next day, too, in order to truly keep that. So we're going to work towards that this week. So let's just find ourselves back here, present moment in this body. And then we rest in gratitude for a moment for this time and space that has been gifted to us. Remember, we are privileged to have been accorded this precious human life afforded to few. We have the capacity to actually direct and sustain attention, different than any other being on the earth. And so in this, we sit and rest. May we offer all the goodness of this practice today. And then all the practices throughout all time, coming from all directions, all traditions, and all people. May we gather this here and offer it to all those in need. All those who are hungry, who are unjustly harmed, to those who have experienced violence, to those who are ill, to those who are alone. And may this practice contribute to the end of suffering and the realization of true, abiding, unconditional, undying happiness and freedom. May we call to mind those for whom we practice today and call out their names. May we all have happiness and the causes for happiness. May we all be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May we have ease of being in gratitude for its privilege. May we rest and dwell in the vast, boundless, and open heart of loving kindness and compassion, abiding until all beings are awake and free. And may this practice this very day contribute, and may it continue. So be it. Thank you all. Thank you for your infinite generosity. It was remarkable. I'm so grateful and joyful to be a part of a group who makes those kind of contributions to the world. Thank you so much. We will be here next Tuesday. Greg will be here Thursday. I will not be here. Well, I don't know if I'll be here Saturday. Is Arizona's time frame the same? Same. Arizona's the same.
They don't go, they don't change. So they'll be the same.
They'll be the same as us. So we will be Zoom only next Saturday because I'll be in Tempe, Arizona at a Cubs spring training. Very exciting. My husband's an avid rabbit.
Just don't
Probably.
reach over the wall for anyone.
Yeah, don't reach over the wall is exactly right. So, but I will be available in the morning. So I will be on Zoom that Saturday. And then we have the following Saturday, we have an all day, which is March 30th. And so someone else is going to be leading on Zoom, but we will be Zoom now for the next 2 Saturdays. because we've got some stuff going on. We will be, please sign up if you haven't for the half or full day at the Geodome. Pete's Geodome is where we will be doing that day, Mindful All Day. And I'm looking forward to being out there. It'll be a wonderful time. So next 2 Saturdays, Zoom only. I will put something out as a reminder about that so we don't forget and have people show up when we're not here. But then we will be back in the saddle on Saturdays that following week, this April 6th. April 6th. Okay. I'll put something out about that so we can all remember. All right, everyone. Hope to see you at the all day coming up in 2 weeks. We'll see you on Zoom next Saturday from Tempe, Arizona, where I heard it's supposed to be 80 degrees. And that's sounding just delightful to me. Just delightful. So we'll see you from there. I'll have a desert background for sure. All right, everyone. Be well. Thank you. Not go